again. Isn't it funny how everybody wants to go behind you just when you start something? Quite a monumental task here. What is the project?
So the project really, Richard, is to record all the inscriptions on the ledger stones in Bath Abbey, and we have 891 stones here in the church. It's the greatest number of monuments and ledger stones in any church in the country, aside from Westminster Abbey. And the project has really been come about because we need to repair our floor. It's collapsing. And before we do that, we want to record the names and the inscriptions of the people that are commemorated here on the floor and buried in the Abbey.
So you're appealing for volunteers. Now, for anybody who is interested in coming to give a bit of their time, how expert do you need to be?
You don't need to be an expert at all. We are going to provide full training for people, and there are two real elements to the task. There's the fun bit, which I think is the kind of hands and knees bit. It's getting dirty, it's getting onto the floor of the Abbey and recording the inscriptions in situ. After that, there's a big process of research that needs to happen after the recording, and that's the task where we will train people in research techniques to find out more about the lives of people who are buried here in the Abbey.
Wow. Now, is all of that going to be recorded somewhere, and would it be accessible?
Well, this is the idea. So, Footprint isn't just a project that's about a building, it's about a project of engagement and community and allowing people to engage with the Abbey more deeply than they have done before. And that's on a voluntary basis, but it's also in terms of the visitor experience when people come to the church. So what we want to be able to do is to not only have people marvel at the wonderful architecture and the monuments all the way around the church, we want to deepen their understanding, their engagement with them. And so come the end of the Footprint project, there'll be a whole range of new interpretation opportunities for people when they come to visit the church, from new touch screens that people will be able to use in the church themselves to learn more about the lives of people buried here and the ledger stones, to new trails where they can kind of follow the trails themselves around the Abbey, around the lives of people buried here and the monuments around the walls.
Well, I've got to say the whole sort of social history, not only of Bath, but of Britain and the Empire is recorded on these walls. I mean, just looking here this morning, we've got the ledger stone for Beau Nash, who we know was King of Bath, and a ledger stone too for a man who was one of the 600 at the charge of the Light Brigade.
The Abbey is just covered with such amazing stories, and it's usually the ones that are to the kind of great and the good that we know most about. I mean, for example, you mentioned Beau Nash there, but there are so many other stories of people that we know so much less about, and were equally important in the social history of Bath. So, for instance, there's a ledger stone in the North Aisle to a man called John Parish, who probably no one's heard about here, but he was a big philanthropist in Bath. He made his money in Hamburg in Germany as a merchant banker, and then came back during the Napoleonic Wars. He saw some of the invasions of Napoleon, came back via Denmark, in fact, ended up by living in the city, and then gave away all of the wealth that he had made in banking and was a conspicuous philanthropist helping the poor in the city, and he's commemorated here in the church. And it's those kind of lives, it's those kind of stories that we're looking to bring out. And it won't just be the John Parishes of this city that we'll be learning more about, it'll be the plumbers who we've got buried here, the poulterers, the everyday people who contributed so much to the life of this city that we want to kind of bring out.
Now, it's going to be quite a job lifting the ledgers. Some of them are quite cracked. You're prepared for that, I take it, and I'm sure you're going to say we're not going to know how bad it is until we start doing it.
Well, with such a great number of ledger stones and such a great variety in terms of the materials that they're made from, the whole task of lifting and conserving and repairing the stones and then finally relaying them is such a huge one, and it's taken such a lot of thinking and research and consultation to come up with the methods of repair, the flexible methods of the repair that we'll need to conduct. when raising and repairing the ledges. But the ultimate aim really is to after we've lifted them and repaired them, to relay the floor as it appears now, only for it to be much more accessible, so it will be a level floor. The stones themselves won't be deteriorating, so the overall experience of the visit to Bath Abbey will be enhanced because they'll have that accessible floor. They'll be able to walk without the risk of falling or tripping, and they'll be able to appreciate the kind of beauty of the stones anew in having them all kind of presented in front of them.
I was going to say, I suppose with no pews in the body of the church, they're going to be a lot more visible too.
Well, we'll have to remove the furniture in order to actually get to the stones, to repair them. And then, yes, after we've taken that furniture out, the floor will be presented in front of people. And I hope that people will be able to appreciate the beauty of the floor itself in all of its variety.
How do people make contact with you?
So they can get in touch with me directly at the Abbey. My email address is otaylor@bathabbey.org, or you can ring me directly in the office on 01225 303 322.